You're listening to a podcast from Dublin's Talking. Downloaded from sunshineradio.ie.
Now, the potential of cloud computing in Ireland is the focus of a showcase event that took place in Dublin yesterday, I believe. Here to tell me about cloud computing is our technology expert, Andy O'Donoghue. Andy, good morning. How are you?
Good, Lindsay. Thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, Andy. What exactly is cloud computing? Because you think of it and you'd automatically look upwards.
Well, indeed, the most common analogy that's been used to explain cloud computing over the years is that of utilities. So, say in your home, when you turn on a light switch, you get electricity as it works. If you weren't connected to the ESB, say, for instance, which works like a big electricity cloud, you'd need to have a generator and you'd need to fuel it and you'd need to put all the infrastructure in place to make your own electricity at home. Cloud computing works in exactly the same way. It is a big cloud. It's referred to as cloud, I think, which comes from an old IT practice of using the symbol of a cloud. And that's exactly how it works. All of the expensive infrastructure and installations that are required to run services are kept somewhere else and shared amongst various different users. So it helps to reduce the cost for individual businesses or users.
Okay, and exactly how does it work? Is it standard computing?
It is. I have to say the most or the usual sort of way that most of us come to use cloud computing initially is cloud storage. And there's a couple of companies. Apple have a cloud storage service online. There's a particularly good one which is free called Dropbox. Dropbox.com. And if you install Dropbox.com on your computer at home, you can copy your files in and out of it. They're actually not held on your computer. They're stored in the Dropbox cloud, which is in America. And every time you turn your computer on, they're there and you see them. If you log in another computer, magically, they're there. And they're held. It's a little bit like a multi-story car park for your information.
Right. Sounds fairly interesting. Does it do away with the hard drive on a computer?
Well, potentially it could, and at the moment, it's funny, Ireland, and the conference yesterday was interesting. I suppose there's certainly it's a worthwhile, the conference is a worthwhile event, and researching it in this country is a worthwhile event. I'm not sure, Mark Fielding referred earlier on to the way broadband has we've lagged behind in broadband, but it's a business opportunity. We're certainly a little bit late to the party for cloud computing. One of the most expensive overhead that somebody running a cloud business has is power. They need to power that system. And unfortunately, electricity prices in the country have been expensive over the last few years. Although they're getting better, they're getting cheaper. If you were to establish a cloud business in a much cooler country, a much cooler environment, you would need to spend significantly less amount of money on cooling, and that's a huge cost for a business in the cloud industry, and it runs into millions of euros a year. So we're a little bit late to the party. Countries like Finland, Sweden, Switzerland are pitching really hard for people to build the data centres, and these huge data centres are need to support cloud computing. Now, we have a couple of data centres in this country. I believe it's somewhere between 10 and 20 active. Microsoft have a huge data centre, which they opened a couple of years back. And so it's a great opportunity, but I think we just need to perhaps focus on the innovation around cloud computing rather than just the infrastructure.
Okay, so to maybe build more data centres here would go a long way to creating a lot of jobs, I'd imagine.
It would, and the data centre itself, of course, is a huge construction project. So you could literally have they estimate between 2,000 and 3,000 people involved in constructing a data centre. When the data centre is built, though, it doesn't actually take that many people to run it because you've got racks and racks of these servers where all the data is kept, but you don't need a whole lot of technical people to run that. I think where the real opportunity is for companies. If we look at something like Dropbox.com as an example, that's a fantastic innovation. It's free. It helps businesses. It helps users. I use it myself every day.
Yeah.
I have Dropbox installed on my iPad. No matter where I am, I can get my data, get my files. I can use it. It's fantastic. And I avail of the free service. For $10 or $20 a year, I can upgrade it. But I think that's what we need to do, is maybe look at the availability of cloud computing and say, how can we put that to use and help businesses reduce their costs and come up with a really good idea and a really good service around the cloud.
Well, I believe most computer users were availing of cloud-based technology without even being aware of it through their use of Hotmail, Gmail, Facebook and Twitter. According to
I think that statement, which often comes up and I think is mentioned in the Goodbody report, I think that's somewhat disingenuous to the real meaning of cloud computing. Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, who's quite outspoken, and Ellison made a comment a year or two ago and said the cloud is a nice name for what we're doing already, in the sense that when you use Gmail and Hotmail, you're availing of a service. You're not exploiting cloud computing in itself, because it would be completely impractical for us all to have email servers and all that at home. So we are using those services, but what cloud is really about is empowering businesses in such a way that, let's say, a business wants to run a finance system. So for $10 or $20 a month, they sign up and they get an invoicing and accounts receivable system running on a cloud system. All they do is print their invoices and send out their bills and get paid. They don't have to have a server or an accounts package or anything like that. Yeah. That's real exploitation of the opportunity of cloud.
It's an interesting one and something I hope that is going to grow in this country. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Andy.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks a million. Take care. Good morning. Andy O'Donoghue, our technology expert there, talking about cloud computing. Don't be put off by it, because it's something you are going to hear